So our topic is campus parking. I'm Evan Martin.
And I'm Aiden Smith.
So what is the problem? So the problem is students and visitors are very confused about where to park when they are at Towson University or coming for a function or whatever they're here for. So this could be the reason why people are not wanting to purchase parking permit, or they may elect to find places like near or around Towson University, like the mall, or they may find a public parking garage or something of that sort. So this problem affects students who commute, visitors, and faculty, and anyone who engages, of course, in the Towson community. And they are not sure where to park, or they don't understand the signs, and it's not very clear, which leads to them getting tickets, which makes the which makes people and the students and the community and society here very unhappy. So if people are not purchasing parking permits, it can lead to a loss for the university. So so who's responsible for the problem? Parking and transportations. Those are the people who come out and take ticket people. They make up the rules of where to park. They have the authority. So who contributes to the existing problem? According to Tiger Light, um, Pam Money, she is the director of parking transportation services. So that's the person who's going to have the most authority in making the decisions of how this organization is run and the rules that are made. So the staff can also help by being out there. Like if they see somebody strolling along or confused, they should recognize that and also help give directions of where people can park when they're confused. So another area who may have a role in this that can help address the problem is like student organizations like SGA, when their mission is to stand up for the students at Towson University. They can post a story on their Instagram about a survey or asking questions like, are you confused about parking? Or they can do a poll, or they can also ask people in person how this can be improved. Then the SGA can communicate with parking and transportations to help overcome this issue, which would make more students satisfied.
All right. So just to give a little background on the issue, I'll talk about some of the context surrounding the parking sign issue at Towson. Starting with the financial needs. So the primary financial issue, obviously, that comes with fixing this parking signage problem is the cost of designing and printing new signage, which is going to have to be placed. It's going to have they're going to have to replace the signs on each level of each of the parking garages, such as Glen Parking Garage or Union, Towson Town, or West Village. So they'll have to block off space to replace these signs. They'll have to pay a certain amount of money to design and order these signs. And so because of that, parking and transportation might feel that replacing the signage is more trouble than it's worth, and maybe more of a cost than any benefit that they'll see. There's also some political context with this issue as well. So according to the Tower Light, the student newspaper, parking and transportation made $436,119 in revenue from parking violations last year, and all of this money, it doesn't go to any specific program or anything like that. It just ends up in a general fund, which is then used to fund parking and transportation. It's just used to fund the department. Parking and transportation is also still able to sell plenty of parking passes, because just from my firsthand observations, between the hours of 10 to 3, the Union Garage, Glen Garage, and the Towson Town Garage can all be pretty busy, and they could be at or near capacity. So the university is selling enough passes, so they may not feel enough of an incentive to change this issue just because financially they're well off as it is. And then
So,
just to discuss what leadership skills might be needed to help mitigate some of these factors. So a leader would need to be someone who could inspire the student body and rally support around this issue. They could do this by campaigning off the basis that parking and transportation makes over $400,000 in revenue from ticket violations off of students, and how they use that money ultimately just to fund their own department. A leader would also need to be able to understand the bigger picture of why the department doesn't feel any incentive to solve the issue. Just because, again, financially, they may feel that it's more trouble than it's worth. They may not feel that the issue is worth enough of their time because they may just not understand how big of a problem it is. And so they would have to be able to convince parking and transportation that solving this issue is in the best interest of the students, which in turn benefits the university because the reason why we are all here and why the university exists is because of the students. And then as far as what management skills would be needed to mitigate these factors, I would say a manager would need to decide what the best method to reach the student body would be, just to gain an insight into what the student population is thinking. So, like Evan mentioned, they could do surveys via Instagram or any sort of social media. They could also set up tables if they would like to. They could table at or near parking garages and just speak with students and get their opinions. Um, and this person would need the people skills to be able to convince parking and transportation that it's important to address this problem. So just a couple methods that we thought of to address this issue. So again, like we mentioned, we could use surveys. The SGA would be able to get a further insight into the opinion of the student body by pushing surveys to student through their email accounts, or they could send survey links to student organizations such as Greek Life or Intramurals or any other student organization. These organizations could also post these surveys on Instagram or Twitter or X and any other social media that students are prominently using. And so posters with a QR code link to the survey could also be put up at or near dorms or apartments, which would give students access to the survey and they would be able to input their opinions. And so the survey could be closed and presented to parking and transportation by March 2024, which would give them a couple months to be able to start designing new signs if they would like to, and then just ordering and replacing them over the summer when the garages aren't as busy. And like I mentioned too, they could also do tabling or using petitions. So the SGA could set up tables outside of Burdick Hall, Student Union, and other locations that are near some of the parking garages on campus, like Union or Towsontown. And so this would give the SGA direct access to students who are like directly affected by the problem, which is students who are obviously using the garages. And so the students could sign the petition if they want to make sure that parking and transportation knows that this is an issue for the student body. So tabling would take place probably from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. from January to March, just because, again, those are the busiest hours for the parking garage. And then the results of the petition would be presented to parking and transportation around March 2024, which again would give the department some time to order and replace the signs while the parking garages aren't being used as much.
so the recommendations that we feel that the best course of action to concerning this parking issue is through student emails as well as student organizations like Reflect. This is an easy and effective way to gain insight because feelings concern university parking. So tabling and petition would provide more direct access to students in the garages. But there can be difficulty finding students who are willing to work between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., especially if many of them have classes or they prefer to study during those hours, or they're arriving to their classes or even having lunch. So a digital survey allows students to fill out the survey like whenever they would like if they're using Google Forms or something like that, which will provide insight into the student body's opinion on issues without requiring surveyors to collect the results directly and in person. Ultimately, it is essential to show parking transportation that the student body wants a change to the garage signage. If parking and transportation understands that solving this issue benefits students and turns it into the university, they will have a greater incentive to solve the issue and provide greater clarity on parking for students. Because if it's just a little bit of students, then they're like, it's just a little bit of people. But if they see that that's a big part of the population, then they're more willing to get down to the solution, especially if they can find some important people like the president or something that can back our side, then they will feel a stronger incentive to back us up. So this concludes our presentation, and thanks for watching.